G'day punters, here we are for a bit of punting Melbourne style. I'm joined by Dan Kelly, the punter's punter.
Hi, Pots.
Mark Rhoden,
Hello.
champion bets. How are you, Mark?
Great. Yeah, good to be here. Been a few months now since I've been on the show. But
Big couple of months for you.
Oh, the tides. Oh,
The
yeah.
tides.
So we're getting a bit Hawthorne like now, aren't we? Sick of winning it, you know.
That's it. Yeah, you dropped the one you shouldn't have probably last year.
Yeah.
So that's what we did against the Swans, and then
And
it
then
does buy
off you went,
Yeah, you did say to me, Mark, after the preliminary final last year, I said, I was at that game, Mark. You said, oh, we'll be right. We'll just come back and have another crack at it with Lynch next year.
That's right. I
And
did
then
say
you-
that, didn't
you-
I?
Well, they had a good run, mate. Do you remember who the last team to beat it? Which one was?
It was Adelaide.
Correct.
Yes,
They
Adelaide
went
and
all
Adelaide.
that turmoil.
Yeah, that's right. Yeah, well, they weren't flying, but they were going all right then. We were on the ropes and yeah,
It's a complete
changes
all the
quickly.
other It's just like racing pots. So another quiet week in racing, mate. Another quiet.
Well, last month, DK, we've had the full paradox of racing laid bare, the very worst parts of the industry and then the very best parts. So now we're punters, we're here to talk about the very best parts. We won't get too much into the worst parts, but the story in the ABC is not good for racing, and racing needs to do its part. But my view is it's really a government regulation thing that needs to, but racing needs to lobby the government strongly and do its part from a funding point of view to make sure these things don't happen. That's as much as I think about it.
Yeah, well, I didn't think. I thought I watched it. I thought it was quite gratuitous, the footage they showed. You show any abattoir or anything like that at court date on the night time, I think they're just trying to get maximum outrage, which is what journos and media are trying to do these days. My wife, who works in the Department of Justice in Melbourne, straight away she said, "Oh, those blokes who are abusing the horses at the abattoir, they'll be ex-crims for sure." Yeah. That's the sort of jobs they get when they leave jail.
It's not the kind of job you go straight out of school and do.
Yeah. So, like I said, the regulation, some more regulation there. Everyone's had their say. That's right. Mytho went asked for the racing bodies in government to do more yesterday, but that's all I'll say on it, too.
I think the response of most racing people has been very strong, very positive. They want to do the right thing as much as possible. The regulation of slaughterhouses isn't racing's job, but they are sort of complicit to a pretty decent extent in ex-racehorses ending up there. So, look, it's come to light. It's got to be addressed. Racing in these situations can tend to get on the defensive and want to shoot the messenger, that sort of stuff. That doesn't seem to have happened here. So I think they're pretty good signs, for going forward.
Yeah, I think all decent humans want to see animals treated well. So it's not just horses, it's not just race horses. It's horses in general, animals in general, and anywhere that this sort of thing's happening. I don't think any decent person wants that sort of thing.
No, especially where Australia's an animal-loving country, isn't it? It really is.
Absolutely.
With our pets and things like that. So, anyway, on the race, we'll go with the immediate stuff, Dave. Cox Plate, barrier draw, breakfast with the best and everything was this morning. So there's a bit of conjecture about the committee's discretion pricking the field, as there is every year, with a few emergencies. And also, what I thought, the emergencies being able to pick their barriers was a bit... any thoughts on either of that, Pods?
Well, once you've got emergencies, I suppose, what are you going to do? You can't...
Well...
Take
the Everest.
Take the scratching of the barrier.
Yeah, barrier with the scratching.
Fair enough.
The barrier with the scratching.
None of the Everest emergencies had barriers.
Okay.
Right. Oh, that's
and in the Everest, same in the Cox Plate, you're moving into one to get a run. The horse is going to get injured between now and jump time.
Yeah.
So, like on a normal Saturday, you're going to just have the random barrier draw and the emergencies are going to be in. That's fine. But in a race like this, the emergencies are very, very long odds to get a run. So it's less important that they have a go.
Yeah. And they went with the. I saw they put out some good stuff about why they made the decisions, but everyone's booing about Humidor missing out and this and that.
The part I find a bit that humours me is that unless you've walked that track, you've got no idea whether you should be selecting an inside or a wide gate or a middle draw.
Yeah.
So I wonder how many of them actually had a good look at the track before they...
And isn't there some
participation
forecast
on the day? Is it on the day?
So I would love some clever young media guy to get last week's Caulfield Cup draw, okay? And cut him with the draw, what sort of run the horse got, and where it finished. Yeah. And you'll find a lot of the inside draws were out the back and got into all sorts of trouble. And the winner just stayed 3 or 4 wide, out of the way.
And beautiful.
And the closest finish of inside draw was Constantinople in 5, and had, draws 14, he'd probably win.
Yeah, exactly.
You know what I mean? Like, it's just hilarious. Like, they all get excited about drawing inside or whatever.
Yeah.
No one, you draw 22 and the crowd goes, oh no.
How many Caulfield Cups have you seen, mate? 40?
No.
30?
Jesus Christ. Since the 80s.
But I did notice with a tweet of yours, I don't think you've seen one stood on its head
Twice.
3 times in the last 600 metres and get beaten the length or something.
Oh, it was amazing. He sort of half missed the start to Constantinople. So he ended up maybe one row further back than he wanted to be in the run. Then when he wanted to get in the race and they're all coming around him, he's bolt up right in the irons, stopped, and then he somehow picked himself up, and the same thing happened at about the 250 or 300 in Australia. He was very unlucky, but there are other hard luck stories.
As soon as you get that, say, field of over 16, so here we've got 18, so there's probably only, let's say, 8 lengths first to last.
Yep.
So you're going to have horses in the early part wider than 4 wide.
Yep.
So if there's any of them that are going to keep pushing, you just get this cycling peloton type thing, where the worst place to be really is in the middle of the ruck.
Yes.
Or back on the inside of the ruck, and you need an awful lot of luck to win from those positions.
Well, I watched Craig Williams' preview of the race, and then Danny O'Brien's camp put out the post race when he was speaking to the owners, and when he was doing his pre-race, he said, "I want to be able to declare I've drawn this barrier and this and that." He said, "But this is a very interesting way they run this race, because they get out and go, then they really slacken off, and then they pick up." And he said, "So I'll be looking to be in clear air." At the 8 even though he was drawn 6 or whatever he was, seven, And then he said post-race, he said, they slacken off, but he said, I do sort of expose myself, but he said, why not? Let's just get flowing, get out there. And
he ran it absolutely perfectly. He got beat by the horse that was behind him. It was just too good for him.
And he sort of, he thought, it's prepped a really good Melbourne Cup trial.
Don't you wish more jockeys thought like that? The old pace determines position, not vice versa. And if the pace does slacken, and you're on a good rhythm, and they want to pull up in front of you, you pop out 3 wide.
Keep that rhythm.
Go the pace you want to. And otherwise, you've got a trail, but then you're up on the bit. Then you've got to make a sprint at some point.
Especially with horses coming around you.
Yeah, exactly.
That happened to me last week.
Yeah, so
I got our horse pocketed. It was just a horse who just needed absolute momentum. I said, the jockey will know, because last day I didn't get the momentum. Today I'll get the momentum. So it puts him in the 1-1. Then there's a 3 wide train. And
that's the end of that.
That's the end of that. Beauty.
I think the further up the food chain you go, so the higher prize money and the more attention on the race, the more likely you're going to get jockeys riding well, and having some idea of the pace of the race and what the appropriate way to use their horse is. The further away you go, the more you're in the lap of the gods, and because they ride too many races per week. They're not well enough prepared. And in a race like a maiden that you've done, DK, you know far more about all those horses than the jockeys do. But they might know more about the particular horse they're riding. But about the other runners in the race, they haven't got time, and they don't.
And that's predicting that you think trying to say, well, this jock has benefited from a ride on it, or they're changing the rider to change to be more aggressive, and things like that. That's what you're trying to, as in your pre-analysis.
Absolutely.
Trying to predict that stuff.
The best you can do is try and predict it, which is what you're doing. But then you have to accept that sometimes it just doesn't.
No.
They haven't been well prepared, and they've let themselves become a victim. And you just have to cop it sweet.
No, that's for sure.
There was one on Saturday that happened. I can't remember who it was, but I just remember thinking after the race, like, geez, that was. You just showed you a complete lack of preparation there. Anyway, I'll probably bet I don't remember.
Don't
if I remember, I'll pop someone and they'll write 7
Absolute for sure.
Well, in that case, you mentioned in a race like that, no jockey's going to give up 1-1 unless they absolutely have to. They think, I'm in the cherry spot here. This is where I'm supposed to be.
And they asked the trainer pre-race. He said, well, this horse be there. He said, in the box seat. And I said, Yeah, good. Anyway, that's what happens. Anything else there? We might as well start on Caulfield, Potts. What, the Cup? You back the winner?
Yeah, it was
Happy
good.
with that?
I mean, he was the hardest horse in the race to actually line up with anything else. So you were just sort of putting your faith in the Japanese form, which is ridiculously strong. The horse that won 5 races in a row in Japan, that was good enough for me. And lightly raced horse.
D-Lane
said...
And he knows the horse, he knows him.
And the way that won the races in Japan was, good to watch. Nice, improving horse.
Nice and easy to find their videos, are they?
I found them on Racing and Sports, which was fun because you got to watch the race, but you had to listen to it in Japanese. It's very excitable, the Japanese. I had to turn it down because I couldn't stop laughing. It's disappointing that you have to search so hard for these videos. I mean, the clubs organise these races. The least they can do for the punters is to provide a page from somewhere where all the videos are there.
Yeah, I've seen someone else been saying that stuff.
I mean, people searching everywhere, whether it's the various racing sites, YouTube, this, that, and everywhere.
You'd hope with Matty Welsh and that in there at the moment that all this stuff's work in the pipeline. I do a chat to him at the Pet Fair function about the jump outs and things, and a lot of that stuff's in the pipeline. That to be, that.
I think the difficulty is who owns the footage, and there's some copyright issues, and
that stuff,
that sort of stuff there. That's why it happens. But
I'm just starting to. I've always, been an observer to your problems with the horses having jump outs rather than trials and that sort of stuff. Because in Sydney, it's great that everything trials, everything's filmed. But now Chris Wire is starting to jump them out in Melbourne and bring up to Sydney no trial. And so you go, So they've been jumping out in Melbourne, then on the float, and then running first up in Sydney. And you've got it is so hard to track down what they've done.
No,
I mean, honestly, all the trials in Sydney are professional.
Yeah.
The jump outs in Melbourne are a shambles.
Yeah.
Really.
Yeah, it's just do your best. Let's do your best, but it's a
10
lot.
times, there's nothing.
It's a lot better than what it was though, Potts.
Yeah, no, it's better. It's a shambles. It's improved from.
Yes, you can see the shambles.
And
again, with that, I've been using the jump outs page, the jumpouts.com, whatever, and what they're also doing is they're putting the work into go back and name.
Oh wow!
The horses who jumped out as they're breeding.
Yeah.
So I went onto the.
Oh wow!
Yeah.
Right. Yeah.
So I went onto the Caulfield jump out page, put the horse's name in. Only one jump out came up.
Yeah.
Put the same name in the jump out. So I'm going to put 4.
Yeah.
Then I'll go back and look at them, and it only jumped out under its breeding.
Yeah.
So that was just they're putting the work in. So that was really beneficial. So. Anyway, what else happened on the day there, Potts? The track? The track?
Okay, yeah, so, good. I'm glad you brought that up. Okay, so last time we did a show, it was after the Underwood.
That's right.
I was critical because, in my view, the aeration or verti draining that was done prior to the Underwood meeting was too severe. It was too deep. It caused an uneven racing surface, and when you went back and looked at the divots, they were all different depths. So I think that was the reason why some horses failed on that day, and it was hard to accelerate. However, we're punters, we don't really like change, but there is a change of policy, and the track managers have got to try and comply with it, I suppose. And so Jason's doing his best. So he altered what he did for the Caulfield Guineas meeting, and the verti draining was much less severe. It was much shallower. Well, that's how it felt to me anyway, and it raced superbly. Caulfield Guineas Day. They went out to the 10 for the Wednesday meeting, and the track raced really well. And so they did that verti draining on the Thursday before the Guineas meeting and didn't do it again, which was good.
Probably not as severe.
Not as severe. And it raced really well, as I said, Guineas Day. And then when they went back into the True for Cup Day, there was a little bit of wear from the 600 to the 300, but it held together really well. I thought it would probably only hold up for 3, maybe 4 races, but it probably held up, until about race 7 when we just had a few showers. Come through, and the track raced really well there, and so they really just full credit to they've had to experiment with a new procedure, and so that makes me uncomfortable because I'm looking at something different.
Right. We don't like change,
but we like things to be as predictable as they can be. But over the 3 days, the track raced really well, and I think Jason probably learnt something from the Underwood Stakes Day. I might be wrong about that. He might disagree with me, but overall the track was good.
And one other horse I'll ask you about on the day, mate. Should probably hurts a little bit.
Vegas Jewel.
Thought of that.
Oh wow!
So I thought of that. I thought of that coming from mate. We're sitting at the pub. When was this, Potts? The last show, wasn't it? When we did the last show. Right, and Potts said, this thought of that's in this race. I said, Linda Meach and Blinkers are going that horse. Potts said, I backed this the other day, and $9 to $4.60.
Took $9 in a terrible maiden at Ballarat.
And I opposed it in that maiden because I thought it was only fair first up, which it was solid at $4.20 and only went fair. Because you backed it in that ordinary maiden, and then it was only fair again, wasn't it?
I was dreadful.
Dreadful. So that goes to this race with
couldn't get out of its own
Blinkers first time. And I backed Mick Price. We're cheering for the Mick Price horse, which ran second to it.
8 lengths.
Yeah, 8 lengths.
And
it went like a legion in the Blinkers. So it's turned up there again on Saturday, Potts.
Was that first time in a mile with Donald? First time.
First time in a mile of
Yeah,
Don,
we
straight
went 12,
up to
14,
2000.
16,
Yeah.
straight to 2000.
Which is a hard, to run fast like it did at Donald and then go up to 2000s. That's a challenge for a young horse.
Yeah. It's got the breeding. So
If you go too quick at 2000, it'll bring you undone.
Yeah.
But
I don't think it went that quick though.
Just
It put
went
8 on him in the home straight.
Yeah.
I think it just because it didn't have the field that spread out. I know it's run quick time, but I reckon a lot of that time was in that last 500 metres.
was that at Donald or something?
Yeah, Donald.
Yeah.
So it's gone there Saturday and
So are the
pissed him.
Oh,
So it's
the
done.
ratings, honestly, if it was in the Cox Plate, I'd be half in the back of it.
Yeah.
Honestly.
Yeah, the three of us.
So the
Imagine if
looking
it's
at time.
48 kilos bowling along in front.
Yeah.
Cox Plate.
Yeah, it's father did that. So you think?
Yeah.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. So is it a threat in the derby? That's
Threat, absolutely. If it runs
So
2500, it'll win.
what are your blokes coming down?
Shadow Hero. That it was a funny race, the Spring Champion, but that didn't rate anywhere near as well as this thing did. So look, maybe it's hit a peak and it'll come off. But okay, let's just say they do what they do. They might have this thing favoured.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Okay.
But isn't there speculation that they might not run in the day, but they might run in one of the other races?
McKinnon?
McKinnon
They're worried
or the
about-
Mile or something.
The owner's worried about the breeding
Yeah.
at 2500, isn't he? Or something?
Well, it could
Makes
be-
sense to me. I mean, they avoid it.
in the McKinnon.
Yeah.
Or whatever the.
How would you
Yeah.
breed in the McKinnon? Like
Yeah.
if it was
That's what it's
Yeah.
that's what it is.
like it wasn't like you can get a windy day at Flemington. Like, so
Yeah.
just say it's a decent day for on paces.
Yeah. Yeah.
You all you
What
gotta
weight for age
do.
horse of ours? Like forget the imports because there'll be some of them. But what weight for age horse of ours would you back to beat it in a McKinnon?
Over 2000. Oh Christ, nothing.
All you do, you just bin anything it did before the blinkers. It's one of those horses.
Yeah.
It's just like if you started its blinkers, it's like its dad.
Yeah.
That's how good it is.
Yeah, that's
Yeah.
right.
Yeah.
Yeah.
So you can. What about McKinnon? Oof.
Like say you think did good things in his first few runs. I remember him coming from last one day at
We ran third in the
Rose Hill.
Yeah, sorry, he did up there. Yeah.
He got up in the last stride in like a 1300 metre race or something. He came down for the Guineas and got into trouble
Sensational run, Guineas.
in Guineas, and then they.
Rode
I'm not sure,
aggressive.
did they have the blinkers on? But he
But the
led.
rode aggressive,
Yeah.
bossy rode aggressive.
And then he ran in the mile race over there at Flemington.
And that was a bridge too far.
Just got him. He just sort of overdid it and
Yeah.
got run down late. He ran second though. But he was like this. Thought of that. He's just improved dramatically with the blinkers and as a spring 3-year-old.
So just having a look, comparing the times to the ethereal, the fillies must be either absolutely hopeless or this is father.
Yeah, it's incredible.
Or it's probably somewhere in between is the answer.
It's about 15 lengths difference. I remember, I think, or something like that.
Well, it's run a second and a half faster and half a second faster from the 400.
Yeah, that's what it can do. Yeah, it can really get home. Anyway, all right. Well, we might come back and talk about. You want to say anything else on Caulfield? We'll come back and talk about the big Everest meeting with
Let's do
Mark
that.
in part 2.
Yeah.
Want to do that?
Part 2.
Gotcha.
We're back
All
on
right.
the sec punters.
Good.